Well, folks, it looks like Intel is going down swinging at AMD to try and get back some of their market share that they've been losing for the last couple of years with their so-called claims of performance increases for the 200S Ultra series. Let's get into this. Hi everyone, it's about Lot Tech banging out some more tech news. Hope you have an awesome day. Now, I came across an article and some other forums the last couple of days regarding this new performance patch that Intel released that they claim was supposed to close the performance gap in gaming and workloads for AMD's top-of-the-line 9800X3D as well as the 9950X3D. Now, a recent testing to test this theory from Hardware Unboxed showed multiple games testing against the 9800X3D, which is the current top-of-the-line AMD gaming CPU, against their best 285K. And they were nowhere near the performance claims that Intel was claiming. There's still a 35 to 40%, sometimes more, performance deficit between the 9800X3D on AMD and Intel's 285K, which is supposed to be the best offering they have. Now, the fact that this thing was falsified and they're kind of being kind of sketchy with these performance claims, like how a lot of big companies like to do, just do their first party benchmarks and then claim that, oh, we got X amount of percentage more and we're closing the gap between our competitor or whatever. So this is, I can't say that I'm surprised that this actually happened and this was proven wrong and false, but the proof is in the pudding and the receipts were brought to light and is nowhere near what they're saying. So I personally think that Intel needs to focus of restructuring and redesigning their approach and their thinking when it comes to trying to be more competitive again or competitive again in general in the CPU space with AMD, because we can't have a single sole person or sole company in that space, because then that person is likely going to get complacent and then it's the worst and everyone gets affected, because then they start charging arms and legs for their new iterations or new CPUs. And I'm not saying that AMD is going to do that, but usually when they have too much leeway, a lot of big companies, they start getting complacent and then start giving like defective products to the masses. So I really hope Intel stops trying to impress and try to prove that they're still in the game as far as competitive against AMD CPUs, which they clearly are not with the benchmarks that we've seen. I'm sure all of us saw already. And they need to focus on more forward thinking and saying what they can actually do to be competitive again. Now, that's what I think. Maybe it's just other people think differently, but I think they need to focus on redesigning and restructuring their approach if they want to even get back the trust of the masses and get back competitive with AMD in the space. And I really hope they do get back some of their market share and stop doing these false claims of performance and doing all these iterations and tweaks that's supposed to help when they turn out all this time not to actually help at all. And just focus on strengthening your product so you don't make a flop again like the Ultra series and you don't have the same issues that you had with the 14th gen with the degradation of CPUs, and in some instances CPUs just burning. So Intel, it's in your best interest to stop trying to compete and focus on fixing your internal stuff first before you try and start flagging and doing false performance claims. Now, I personally hope, since they've been around for ages and they're like Intel's a staple in the CPU space, I really hope for their sake that they actually button down and lock in, because we need that competition in the space. Because if we don't, then all of us and the other masses suffer, whether it's financially because of the pricing going ridiculous or some other defective products that how NVIDIA likes doing sometimes. Now, y'all let me know in the comments below if you think Intel's talks so far as well about their Nova Lake, whenever they're releasing, is going to be competitive against the base Zen 5 as well as the 3D V-Cache Zen 5 that AMD been just destroying the market with. Y'all let me know in the comments below if you believe this claim as well. We already know they made false performance claims, but let me know in the comments below if you think their Nova Lake bragging that been going around for the last couple of months is actually going to put them back on the map in the CPU space. Y'all let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is Lot Tech signing out.